The gasoline on my hands wouldn't wash off. 3 a.m. at Waverly's used cars, and I'm scrubbing engine grease with industrial soap, thinking about traffic patterns and lies. My name's Thomas Waverly. I own this lot, inherited it from my father, and tonight I discovered something that changed everything. Jennifer's text came in at 11:30. Traffic's a nightmare. We'll be late. Simple enough. Her high school reunion ran long, people catching up, old stories retold. I understood. What I didn't understand was why Google Maps showed clear roads between the Marriott downtown and our house on Maple Street. So I checked deeper. Her phone's location history painted a different picture entirely. No highways, no traffic jams, just one address repeating for 4 solid hours. 1247 Riverside Apartments, Unit 12B, Derek Collins' place. Derek Collins, her ex-boyfriend from senior year, the one who just happened to show up at the reunion after 15 years, the one she barely remembered until Facebook reconnected them last month, the one whose apartment apparently cures traffic problems. I set down the soap and pulled up her location again. Still there. Still at his place while texting me about road construction delays that didn't exist. The funny thing about owning a car lot is you learn to spot lies fast. Customers walk in with stories about why their trade-in has a cracked engine block or why they need 0% financing despite bankruptcy. You develop instincts. Jennifer's story had more holes than a rusted muffler. 4 hours at Derek's apartment, not catching up in the hotel lobby, not grabbing coffee at a diner, 4 hours behind closed doors with a man she claimed meant nothing. I locked up the lot and drove home through streets that were perfectly clear. Our house sat dark except for the porch light. Jennifer's Honda wasn't in the driveway yet, though her location showed she'd left Derek's place 20 minutes ago. Enough time to drive home and rehearse whatever explanation she'd prepared. I went inside and made coffee. Waited. Her headlights swept across the kitchen window at 12:45. I heard her car door slam, her heels on the walkway, her key in the lock. She came in looking perfect despite her supposed ordeal with traffic. Makeup fresh, hair styled, dress unwrinkled. "Sorry, honey," she said, kissing my cheek. "You wouldn't believe the mess on Route 9. Accident backed everything up for miles." "Terrible," I agreed. "Must have been frustrating." "You have no idea. I sat there for 2 hours barely moving." 2 hours. Her location history showed 4 hours at Derek's apartment, 20 minutes driving home, and 0 time stuck in traffic. But who's counting? "How was the reunion?" I asked. "Oh, you know. Same old faces, same old stories. Most people haven't changed much." She kicked off her heels and headed upstairs. "I'm exhausted. This traffic thing really drained me." I followed her up. She went straight to the bathroom, started her nighttime routine. Washing off evidence, I figured. Brushing away lies. "Anyone interesting show up?" I called through the door. "Not really. A few people I hadn't seen in years. Nobody special." Nobody special. That's what Derek Collins had become. The man whose apartment cured her traffic problems was nobody special. I lay in bed listening to her breathe, planning my next move. Jennifer always said she married beneath her station. High school valedictorian, college honors, successful PR career. Then there was me, community college dropout who inherited a used car business. She reminded me regularly that she could have done better. Maybe she was right. Maybe she deserved better than a guy who sold cars and trusted his wife. Maybe Derek Collins, with his tech job and downtown apartment, was the upgrade she'd been wanting. Fine. Let her have him. But first, she'd discover the cost of that upgrade. Morning came with coffee and clarity. Jennifer left for work at 8, kissing me goodbye like nothing happened. Professional smile, designer suit, the same routine we'd followed for 12 years of marriage. "Working late tonight," she announced. "Big presentation tomorrow." "Of course you are," I said. She paused at the door. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just agreeing with you. Hope the presentation goes well. Her eyes narrowed, but she left without another word. I waited until her Honda disappeared, then called Benny Russo at the shop. Need you to cover the lot today, I told him. Something came up. Everything okay, boss? Define okay. Benny had worked for me 6 years. Good mechanic, better friend. He understood when not to ask questions. I spent the morning researching. Derek Collins, age 38, software engineer at TechFlow Solutions. LinkedIn showed his career progression. Facebook revealed his social life. Single, no kids, recent photos at expensive restaurants and sporting events. The kind of life Jennifer wanted but couldn't afford on a car salesman's income. His apartment building was new construction, glass and steel rising from the riverfront district. Luxury units starting at $3,000 monthly. Derek lived on the 12th floor with city views and amenities I couldn't pronounce. I drove downtown and parked across the street. Waited. Derek emerged at noon, heading to lunch in his Tesla Model S. Tall, athletic, wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly mortgage. Everything I wasn't. Everything Jennifer apparently wanted. I followed him to Romano's, an upscale bistro where Jennifer and I went for anniversaries. He sat alone, checking his phone constantly, texting someone, probably her. My phone buzzed. Jennifer. Crazy busy today, might be even later tonight. I texted back, no problem, I'll manage. She responded with a heart emoji. The same emoji she probably sent Derek. That afternoon, I visited our neighbor, Mrs. O'Donnell, 80-year-old widow who knew everyone's business before they knew it themselves. Thomas, dear, she said, inviting me in. How's Jennifer? Working hard. You know how dedicated she is. Oh, yes. I saw her leave quite late last night, must have been past 1 in the morning. Interesting. Jennifer's location showed she left Derek's at 12:20. 15 minutes to drive home, 5 minutes to park and come inside. The math worked, but Mrs. O'Donnell's observation confirmed the timeline. She mentioned being stuck in traffic, I said. Traffic? At midnight? How odd. The roads were completely empty when I let Whiskers out. Mrs. O'Donnell's cat required hourly bathroom breaks. She knew traffic patterns better than the Department of Transportation. Maybe she stopped somewhere, I suggested. Perhaps, though I can't imagine where. Everything closes early on weeknights. Everything except Derek Collins' apartment. I thanked Mrs. O'Donnell and went home to wait. Jennifer arrived at 7:30 looking pleased with herself. How was the presentation prep? I asked. Exhausting but productive. We're in good shape for tomorrow. That's great. What's the presentation about? She hesitated. New client acquisition strategies. Pretty boring stuff. I'm sure you'll do great. We ate dinner in comfortable silence. Jennifer checked her phone between bites, smiling at messages I wasn't allowed to see. After 12 years of marriage, we'd become strangers sharing a house. That night, I waited for her to fall asleep, then carefully lifted her phone from the nightstand. No passcode, she'd always trusted me completely. The irony wasn't lost on me. Her text thread with Derek told the whole story. Derek, can't wait to see you tonight. Jennifer, same. Thomas suspects nothing. Derek, what did you tell him? Jennifer, work emergency. He believes everything I say. Derek, you deserve better than him. Jennifer, I know, soon. Soon. That word hit like a punch to the stomach. Soon she'd leave. Soon she'd upgrade to Derek's luxury lifestyle. Soon I'd be alone in this house, wondering where I went wrong. But soon worked both ways. I screenshot their conversation and forwarded it to my email. Evidence for later. Then I scrolled through her other messages, finding more proof of their affair. Weeks of planning, sneaking around, laughing about my ignorance. The last message was from tonight. Derek, tomorrow night? Same time? Jennifer, definitely. I'll think of another excuse. Tomorrow night. Another traffic emergency, another work crisis, another lie delivered with a kiss on my cheek. I put her phone back and stared at the ceiling until dawn. planning what came next. Jennifer left early for her presentation, kissing me goodbye with lips that had kissed Derek Collins. I watched her drive away, then began the most important work of my life. First stop, Benny's garage. I found him under a Chevy Malibu, cursing at a stubborn transmission. "Need to borrow your truck tonight," I said. He rolled out from under the car. "What's wrong with your truck?" "Nothing. Need something bigger." Benny wiped his hands on a rag, studying my face. "This about Jennifer?" "What makes you say that?" "You look like a man with a plan. Last time I saw that expression, you were 16 and planning to egg Principal Martinez's house." "This is bigger than eggs." "How much bigger?" I told him everything: the reunion, the traffic lies, Derek's apartment, the text messages. Benny listened without interruption, nodding at the right moments. "So what's the plan?" he asked. "Moving day." "Moving day?" "Jennifer wants to upgrade her living situation. I'm going to help her." Benny grinned. "Count me in." Next stop, Home Depot. I bought boxes, packing tape, bubble wrap, and markers. The clerk asked if I was moving. "My wife is," I said. Big surprise. Back home, I started in our bedroom. Jennifer's clothes filled half the walk-in closet. 12 years of marriage, 12 years of accumulating possessions, designer dresses, expensive shoes, jewelry I'd bought for birthdays and anniversaries, all of it going to Derek's apartment. I packed methodically, folding everything neatly. No reason to be vindictive about the process. This was business, not revenge. Jennifer had made her choice. I was simply facilitating the transition. Her toiletries came next. Expensive face creams, perfumes, makeup that cost more than most people's car payments. Everything she used to look beautiful for Derek. The books were hardest. We'd bought many together, browsing bookstores on lazy Saturdays when we still enjoyed each other's company. Now they were just objects to be boxed and moved. By afternoon, I had 6 suitcases and 8 boxes packed with Jennifer's possessions. Everything she owned, ready for transport. Her entire life reduced to cardboard containers. My phone buzzed. Jennifer. "Presentation went great. Celebrating with the team tonight. Don't wait up." "Celebrating with the team." "Sure. Team Derek." I texted back, "Congratulations. Enjoy yourself." At 6 p.m., Benny arrived with his pickup truck. We loaded Jennifer's belongings carefully, securing everything with rope and tarps. Neighbors watched from their windows, probably wondering why I was moving furniture at dinner time. Mrs. O'Donnell appeared at her fence. "Spring cleaning, Thomas?" "Something like that." "Jennifer's things?" "She won't be needing them here anymore." Mrs. O'Donnell nodded knowingly. "I see. Well, sometimes change is for the best." My thoughts exactly. We drove to Derek's apartment building in convoy, my truck following Benny's. The parking garage was nearly empty, making it easy to find spots near the elevator. "Which floor?" Benny asked. 12, Unit 12B. We rode up in silence, wheeling a cart loaded with Jennifer's suitcases. The hallway was carpeted and quiet, smelling of new construction and other people's cooking. Derek's door was solid oak with brass numbers. I arranged the suitcases neatly beside it, then went back for the boxes. Everything fit perfectly in the hallway, creating a small mountain of Jennifer's possessions. Finally, I pulled out a notepad and wrote, "She's your problem now. Good luck. You'll need it. Trust me. Thomas." I taped the note to the largest suitcase and stepped back to admire my work. Jennifer's entire life delivered to her new address, express service with a personal touch. "Think he's home?" Benny asked. "Doesn't matter. He'll find it eventually." We took the elevator down and drove home in comfortable silence. The hardest part was over. Now came the waiting. At home, I changed the locks on both doors, called a locksmith who owed me a favor and paid him double to come immediately. By 10 p.m., Jennifer's keys were useless pieces of metal. I sat in the kitchen drinking coffee, watching the clock. Jennifer would discover her new living arrangement soon enough. Derek would find his hallway decorated with unexpected gifts. Both would realize their secret was no longer secret. My phone rang at 11:15. Jennifer's number, but I'd already blocked it. The call went straight to voicemail, then another, then 5 more in rapid succession. I poured another cup of coffee and waited for the real show to begin. The pounding started at midnight, fists against the front door, rattling the frame. Jennifer's voice carried through the wood, high-pitched and desperate. "Thomas, open this door. What did you do with my things?" I turned up the television volume and settled deeper into my recliner. Late-night talk shows were surprisingly entertaining when you weren't worried about waking your wife. "I know you're in there. Your truck's in the driveway." More pounding. She'd moved to the back door now, her heels clicking on the deck boards. I'd locked that door too, of course. Preparation was everything. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. Text from an unknown number. "This is Derek. We need to talk." I deleted it without responding. Jennifer appeared at the living room window, pressing her face against the glass. Her perfect makeup was smudged, her hair disheveled. The composed professional had been replaced by something frantic and raw. "Thomas, please, just talk to me." I waved from my chair and pointed at the television. Couldn't hear her over the comedy show. "Sorry." She disappeared from the window. I heard her car start, tires squealing as she backed out of the driveway. Going back to Derek's, probably. Going home. 20 minutes later, my phone rang again. Different unknown number. "You can't just dump someone's belongings in a hallway." Derek's voice was tight with controlled anger. "This is harassment." "Is it?" I asked. "I was just helping my wife move. She seemed eager to spend time at your place. Look, I don't want any trouble." "Too late for that, Derek. You should have thought about trouble before you started texting my wife." Silence on the line. Then, "How did you know about your little affair?" "Traffic patterns, Derek. Jennifer said she was stuck in traffic, but her phone said she was stuck in your apartment. For 4 hours. Must have been some conversation. We need to work this out like adults." "I am working it out. Jennifer wanted to upgrade her living situation. I helped her upgrade. Now she's your problem." "She can't stay here." "Why not? You've been telling her she deserves better than me. Here's her chance to prove it." I hung up and turned off the phone. Let them figure out their new arrangement without my input. The next morning brought unexpected visitors. Mrs. O'Donnell knocked at 7 a.m., carrying a plate of muffins and wearing her best gossip expression. "Quite a commotion last night," she said, settling into my kitchen chair. "Jennifer seemed upset about something." "Marriage troubles," I said, accepting the muffins. "Sometimes people grow apart." "I see. And the moving truck yesterday?" "Jennifer's relocating. Fresh start, new opportunities." Mrs. O'Donnell nodded approvingly. "Sometimes that's for the best, though I must say she seemed surprised by the timing. Change is always surprising." "Indeed. Will she be coming back for the rest of her things?" "What rest? I packed everything." "Everything. My goodness, you're thorough. Attention to detail, important in any business." Mrs. O'Donnell left with enough information to fuel neighborhood gossip for weeks. By noon, half the block would know about Jennifer's sudden departure. By evening, the whole story would be common knowledge. I opened the car lot at 10 and tried to focus on business. 3 customers looked at vehicles, 2 asked about financing, 1 actually bought a Honda Civic. Normal Tuesday activities, except nothing felt normal anymore. Benny arrived at lunch with sandwiches and questions. "Any word from the happy couple?" he asked. "Derek called last night. Didn't sound happy." What did he expect? Free delivery service? Apparently he expected Jennifer to visit, not move in permanently. Buyer's remorse? Something like that. We ate in comfortable silence, watching traffic pass on the street. Normal people living normal lives, unaware that my world had shifted overnight. "You okay with this?" Benny asked eventually. "Which part?" "All of it. Ending your marriage, starting over, the whole thing. I considered the question seriously. Was I okay? Jennifer had been my wife for 12 years, my girlfriend for 2 years before that. 14 years of shared history, reduced to boxes and suitcases in Derek's hallway. She made her choice, I said finally. I just made it official. No regrets? About what? Trusting her? Believing her lies? Letting her make a fool of me for weeks? About how you handled it. I thought about that. The midnight packing, the surprise delivery, the changed locks, extreme measures maybe, but proportional to the betrayal. She wanted Derek's lifestyle, I said. Now she has it. No regrets. My phone buzzed. Text from Jennifer's number. We need to talk. Meet me at Romano's at 6. Romano's. The restaurant where Derek had lunch yesterday, where Jennifer and I celebrated anniversaries. Neutral ground for an uncomfortable conversation. I texted back. Can't tonight, busy. Thomas, please, this is important. Everything's important to you, Jennifer. Doesn't mean it's important to me. I'm still your wife. Are you? Could have fooled me. No response. She was probably showing Derek our text exchange, planning their next move. Let them plan. I had moves of my own. Romano's restaurant at 6 p.m. was exactly what I expected. Jennifer sat alone at a corner table, wearing her best apologetic expression and a dress I'd bought her last Christmas. She waved when she saw me, like we were old friends meeting for dinner. I took the seat across from her, noting the wine glass already half empty. Dutch courage for a difficult conversation. Thank you for coming, she said. Curiosity. What's so important it couldn't wait? She leaned forward, lowering her voice. We need to discuss this situation rationally, like adults. Which situation? Your affair with Derek, or your surprise relocation? It's not an affair, we're just reconnecting. Reconnecting. Is that what you call 4 hours in his apartment? Her cheeks flushed. How did you know about that? Your phone's location history. Technology is amazing these days. You spied on me? I verified your story about traffic. Turns out you lied. Jennifer sipped her wine, buying time to construct her next argument. She'd always been good at arguments, turning defense into offense with practiced ease. Okay, I wasn't completely honest about last night, but nothing happened. We just talked. For 4 hours. About what? Old times, high school memories, catching up. Must have been fascinating memories, worth lying to your husband about. I didn't want you to worry. About what? Your fidelity? Your commitment to our marriage? Your basic honesty? She set down her wine glass harder than necessary. Don't lecture me about honesty. You packed my belongings and dumped them at Derek's apartment without telling me. I helped you move. You seemed eager to spend time there. I never said I wanted to move out. Your text messages said otherwise. You deserve better than him. Thomas suspects nothing. Soon. Ring any bells? Jennifer's face went pale. You read my private messages? Private? We're married, Jennifer. Or were, until you decided to upgrade. I never said I wanted a divorce. You didn't have to. Actions speak louder than words. Your actions said you preferred Derek's company to mine. She reached across the table, trying to take my hand. I pulled back. Thomas, please. We can work this out. Marriage counseling, therapy, whatever you want. Just let me come home. Home? You mean Derek's apartment? That's your home now. I can't stay there. He doesn't want me living with him. Ah, buyer's remorse. Derek wanted the affair, not the responsibility. It's not like that. What's it like, Jennifer? Explain it to me. She struggled for words, wine and desperation making her sloppy. We connected at the reunion. Old feelings came back. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. You have a funny way of showing love. Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes? You planned this for weeks. Text messages, secret meetings, lies about traffic and work emergencies. That's not a mistake, that's a strategy. Jennifer started crying, mascara running down her cheeks. Other diners were staring now, whispering about the couple having a public breakdown. "What do you want from me?" she asked. "Nothing. You made your choice. Live with it." "I choose you. I choose our marriage." "Too late. You already chose Derek. I just made the choice permanent." I stood to leave. Jennifer grabbed my arm. "The locks," she said. "Change them back. Let me come home." "That's not your home anymore. Your home is 1247 Riverside Apartments, Unit 12B. Derek's waiting for you. He doesn't want me there." "Then you have a problem. But it's not my problem anymore." I left her crying at the table, surrounded by curious strangers and empty wine glasses. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck for a moment, processing what had just happened. Jennifer wanted to come home. Derek didn't want her at his place. She was caught between two worlds, belonging to neither. The upgrade she'd planned had become a downgrade to nowhere. Perfect. My phone buzzed as I drove home. Text from Derek. "She can't stay here indefinitely. We need to resolve this." I texted back, "Not my problem. You wanted her, you got her. I never asked her to move in. Should have thought of that before you started the affair. This is ridiculous. She's your wife. Was my wife. Past tense, present tense, she's your girlfriend. Future tense, she's your problem." No response. Derek was learning the difference between fantasy and reality. Affairs were exciting when they involved secret meetings and stolen hours. Living together was mundane: bills, chores, compromise, commitment, all the things he'd avoided by staying single. At home, I poured a drink and sat on the back deck, watching the sunset. 14 years of marriage ended with boxes and suitcases. It should have felt more dramatic, more final. Instead, it felt like relief. Mrs. O'Donnell appeared at the fence walking her ancient cat on a leash. "Evening, Thomas. How was dinner?" "Educational." "I see. And Jennifer?" "Learning new lessons about choices and consequences." "Ah, well, education is never wasted, even when it's expensive." Mrs. O'Donnell understood perfectly. She'd been married 47 years before her husband passed. She knew about choices and consequences, commitment and betrayal. "Will she be back?" she asked. "Doubtful. She's found new accommodations." "I see. Well, change can be refreshing. New beginnings and all that." My thoughts exactly. The cat finished its business, and Mrs. O'Donnell headed inside. I finished my drink and went to bed alone for the second night. The house felt bigger without Jennifer's presence, quieter without her constant phone calls and television shows. Tomorrow would bring new complications. Jennifer and Derek would scheme together, trying to solve their unexpected problem. Jennifer might contact a lawyer, though she had no legal grounds for anything. I'd changed locks on my own house, moved possessions to an address she'd chosen to visit, let them scheme. I had advantages they didn't: patience, planning, and the moral high ground. Jennifer had destroyed our marriage with lies and betrayal. Derek had pursued a married woman for his own gratification. Neither deserved sympathy or assistance. They'd created this situation together. They could resolve it together. Without me. 3 days passed in blissful quiet. No midnight pounding on doors, no desperate phone calls, no tearful confrontations at restaurants. Jennifer and Derek had apparently found temporary solutions to their housing crisis. Then Benny arrived at the lot with gossip and coffee. "Heard interesting news at Murphy's bar last night," he said, settling into the office chair. "Your wife and her boyfriend are the talk of the town." "What's the word?" "Derek kicked her out yesterday, packed her stuff again and left it in the lobby. Building manager threatened to call police if it wasn't removed." I sipped my coffee, processing this development. "Where is she now?" "Motel 6 on Route 9, apparently begging friends for couch space, but nobody wants to get involved." Jennifer's social circle was small and carefully curated. Professional contacts who valued their reputations, casual friends who avoided drama. None would risk their own relationships to shelter a woman who'd destroyed her marriage for an affair. What about Derek? Changed his locks too, blocked her number, told people at his office she was stalking him? Interesting. Derek had used Jennifer for entertainment, then discarded her when reality intruded. The upgrade she'd wanted had become a complete downgrade to nothing. Karma's efficient these days, I said. Gets better. Jennifer tried to file a police report yesterday, claimed you illegally evicted her. And? Officer Martinez laughed her out of the station, said moving your wife's belongings to her boyfriend's apartment wasn't a crime, just good customer service. Officer Martinez had bought 3 cars from me over the years. Good man with a sense of humor about domestic situations. She's running out of options, Benny continued. Friends won't help, boyfriend dumped her, husband changed the locks. That's a trifecta of consequences. My phone rang. Unknown number, but I recognized Jennifer's desperate voice immediately. Thomas, please. I'm staying at a motel. I have nowhere to go. Motels are temporary housing solutions, perfect for people between permanent addresses. I can't afford this indefinitely. My credit cards are maxed out. Sounds like a budgeting problem. Maybe Derek can help with financial planning. Derek won't return my calls. He says I misunderstood our relationship. Did you? What did you think 4 hours in his apartment meant? I thought he cared about me. He cared about the excitement of an affair. You cared about his lifestyle. Neither of you cared about the consequences. Silence on the line. Then, what do you want? Money? The house? I'll sign whatever papers you need. I don't want anything from you, Jennifer. You have nothing I need. Then what? What will it take for you to forgive me? Forgiveness isn't the issue. Trust is the issue. You destroyed that with lies and betrayal. People make mistakes. Stop calling it a mistake. You planned this affair for weeks. You lied repeatedly about your whereabouts. You laughed about my ignorance with Derek. Those weren't mistakes, they were choices. I choose differently now. I choose you. Too late. I've already chosen. I choose self-respect over reconciliation. I hung up and turned off the phone. Jennifer would call back, probably multiple times, but I was done with conversations that went nowhere. That evening, Mrs. O'Donnell knocked with news and cookies. Saw Jennifer's car at the Motel 6, she reported. Looks like she's staying there temporarily. Temporary solutions for temporary problems, I said. Indeed, though I heard from Martha Henderson that Jennifer called her yesterday, looking for a place to stay. And? Martha declined, said she couldn't get involved in marital disputes. Mrs. O'Donnell's intelligence network was more efficient than the FBI. Every detail of Jennifer's downfall was documented and distributed within hours. How long do you think she'll last at the motel? I asked. Not long. Those places are expensive when you're paying daily rates. She'll have to make permanent arrangements soon. What kind of arrangements? Apartment rental, I suppose. Though her credit situation might be complicated now. Jennifer's credit was tied to mine through joint accounts and shared debts. Her individual credit history was thin, making apartment rental difficult without significant deposits. She could move back with her parents, Mrs. O'Donnell suggested. Jennifer's parents lived in Florida, retired and enjoying their golden years. They'd never approved of her marriage to a car salesman and would probably see her divorce as vindication of their concerns. Long drive to Florida, I said. Indeed, though sometimes distance provides perspective. The next morning brought unexpected visitors. Jennifer's sister Carol appeared at the lot, driving a rental car and wearing an expression of barely controlled anger. We need to talk, she announced, marching into my office. Carol had never liked me. Successful attorney married to a successful doctor, she'd always considered Jennifer's choice of husband a temporary lapse in judgment. About what? I asked. About your childish behavior. throwing Jennifer out like garbage, embarrassing her publicly, destroying her reputation. I helped her relocate to an address she preferred. How is that childish? You know exactly what you did. And now she's living in a motel because of your vindictive actions. She's living in a motel because Derek didn't want her as a permanent roommate. That's between them. This is your fault. Your responsibility. My responsibility ended when she chose to have an affair. Actions have consequences, Carol. Jennifer is learning that lesson. She made a mistake. Everyone keeps calling it a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. Affairs are intentional. Carol leaned forward, lawyer instincts taking over. What will it take? Money? Property settlement? Just name your price. There's no price. Jennifer destroyed our marriage with lies and betrayal. I'm not interested in rebuilding something that was broken by design. So you'll just abandon her? Leave her with nothing? She left me with nothing first. I'm just returning the favor. Carol stormed out, probably heading to the motel to strategize with Jennifer. Let them plan legal actions and financial settlements. I'd done nothing illegal, nothing vindictive, nothing that couldn't be justified as reasonable response to reasonable provocation. That afternoon, I drove past the Motel 6. Jennifer's Honda sat in the parking lot, looking as displaced as its owner. Temporary housing for a temporary marriage that had finally found its permanent ending. I went home to my quiet house, made dinner for one, and watched the sunset from my deck. 14 years of marriage, concluded with boxes and suitcases and changed locks. It should have felt more dramatic. Instead, it felt like freedom. Jennifer had wanted to upgrade her life. She'd succeeded, in a way. She was free from a marriage she'd outgrown, free from a husband she'd never respected, free to pursue whatever future she could build from the ashes of her choices. And I was free too. Free from lies and betrayal, free from constant reminders of my inadequacies, free to discover who I was without someone telling me who I should be. The traffic that had ended our marriage wasn't on Route 9 or any highway. It was the traffic between us, the congestion of resentment and disappointment that had been building for years. Jennifer's affair was just the final accident that closed the road permanently. Some routes, once closed, never reopen. This was one of them,